Welcome back. The rift between the Arab world and America in the post-9/11 era is something the US government's looking to address. We're examining the main causes of that rift and exploring solutions. My guests today have some unique insights on the issues. Neil Mukwakwa joins us from New York, where he's UN Bureau Chief for the New York Times. He spent more than 25 years in the Middle East, from his childhood through to his professional life, which are both highlighted in his new book. The Media Relations Department of Hezbollah wishes you a happy birthday. Unexpected encounters in the changing Middle East. An often humorous view of the underexposed side of the region. With me in the studio is Dr. Emil Nakhleh, who was the director of the Political Islam Strategic Analysis Program of the CIA until 2006. He's the author of A Necessary Engagement, Reinventing America's Relations with the Muslim World. And Dr. Nakhleh, Neil had talked a bit about the Israeli-Palestinian situation. An email we got from Ahmed in Dubai in the UAE came in saying, the Arab world would like to see the Palestinian issue be resolved before the rift can be improved. In particular, action to stop illegal settlements and the demolition of Arab homes. There also needs to be a lifting of restrictions to Gaza to allow humanitarian aid to pass through. Now, in terms of the how much it should be a priority for Barack Obama, obviously it has to be a priority, but how quickly should he act? Because a lot of people say, again, it's if it lingers, it's the same old story.
I think he realizes the significance of it, and that's why one of his early acts was to appoint a special envoy in the person of George Mitchell. But beyond that, that appointment indicated his belief that it is a central problem in the region, that you really cannot move toward establishing better relations with the region without giving the impression and the action that we are moving toward the resolution. This doesn't mean that it's going to be resolved instantly, but people in the region realize if the United States regains its fair-minded stature that it had before, and its just approach to the issue, then they would be welcoming the president's efforts in the region.
We'll get a caller in from the USA in Georgia. Idris is on the line. Idris, what would you like to ask?
Yes. My question is that how Obama is going to handle the power of the Israeli lobby in this country. They just had two officials were going to court on the spy charges. They forced them to, drop those charges against two spies. And it looks like they have a total control of the American policy in Middle East. If they are not going to be, challenged, I don't think ever is going to be peace in Middle East, and eventually it's going to be destructive to Israel and America too.
Neil, we touched a little bit on this, the power of the, Israel's relationship with America. Again, this view, I guess, this sentiment is something you've come across a lot in your reporting in the Middle East.
Well, actually, we don't that much. I mean, people talk about it in the United. They want to know about it, but I think just like that, Arabs and Muslims say that the United States should not look at the entire community as monolithic and not different. I think the same thing can be said for the Jewish community in the United States. There are certainly groups that want the United States to pressure a peace deal, and they've started a new lobbying organization. And I think also the Obama administration, I mean, Vice President Joe Biden, when he was addressing the AIPAC conference this year, he said, you're not going to like what I'm about to tell you, but we have to push through a two-state solution. And so I think there is room for debate there. And that we just have to see what develops.
All right, Mohammed's on the line from Dubai. Mohammed, what would you like to ask?
Hi, Riz. I'm a sort of a regular follower of the show.
Thank you.
It's just that generally speaking, the question I don't really agree with the question, because ultimately Obama can't. The answer is clearly no, because we have an establishment behind the White House that is ultimately pulling the strings, whether it's in the Middle East, whether it's in Latin America, in Africa, wherever you go. So
you're saying his hands,
answering question.
Yeah, his hands are tied. Let me put this to Dr. Nakhleh, that the idea that no matter how much his intentions might be good, the president is tied into a system that might be lethargic and not allow.
I don't think so. I think that's a simplistic view of how things work around here. And let me explain. The president is pursuing the national interest policy of the United States. And he believes that resolving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict serves the interests of the United States. And I think he is pretty serious about it. Now, whether he can achieve that or not tomorrow or the day after, that is not the issue. The issue is that the serious attempt on his part to try to find a resolution. And it seems he is going to spend a lot of political capital on that. And the leadership of the Democratic Party supports his view on that it is in our interest in the long run to resolve this issue.
A quick question, actually, Dr. Nakhle, on one of your suggestions, your 10-point blueprint, is that the U.S. should appoint an ambassador to the Muslim world.
Yeah.
I mean, although symbolically it's a great move in practice and an idea too, isn't it almost impossible for a post like that to be developed because of the sort of the divisions within Islam itself? I mean, who is this person going to engage with?
Yeah. Well, first, as the recommendation suggests, we need to appoint an ambassador, a distinguished American Muslim, to the OIC, the Organization of Islamic Conference. Wherever they meet, he can go and visit those and participate in those meetings.
The OIC has been dismissed by so many as ineffective.
Well, of course, this is just the organization that is as a vehicle to give a stature to the appointment. But what's important in this recommendation is that we need a high-level messenger to speak to the Islamic world, regardless of the diversity and complexity of the Islamic world. And of course, as the book clearly indicates, the Muslims of Indonesia are not the same as the Muslims of Egypt. But we need a high-level messenger to speak on behalf of the President of the United States and the United States government. Because on all of my travels, I used to be asked, well, who is speaking for the United States whenever they listen to different people speaking? So the ambassador would be the spokesman for the United States government.
You know, Neil, I want to quote something from your book where you talk about modernizing Islam, because many people think this is central to the debate. And you talk about how there's an urgent debate among some quarters in Islam about the need to talk about modernizing Islam. And you say, there are Muslim thinkers who call for a complete overhaul of the way the holy texts are interpreted as the best means to eliminate any question that the faith does not condone terrorism, much of it carried out in the name of Islam. Now, isn't one of the major problems in the Arab world the difficulty in generating an open debate on modernizing Islam because of fear of backlash from radicals?
Yeah, I think that's certainly true. And I mean, there are people who even object to probably me talking about it just because I'm an outsider and a non-Muslim. But I think there are some brave voices out there. And that's one of the things I try and highlight in the book, is that there are points of view out there. There are people that speak out. And, you know, Mohammed Shahrour, the engineer you're referring to in that passage, he talks about how there are issues where the Arab world has changed what's written in the Quran. On the issue of slavery, for example, it's permissible in the Quran. It's not entirely endorsed, but it's there and it's legal, and it has become illegal in the Arab world. So he says that not on air, you know, you don't have to follow it absolutely, and they should look at it and see what rules were apt for the 7th century that no longer need to apply.
Let's get a call in from California. Minhaj, good to have you with us. Go ahead, please.
Yes, hi. My question is, whenever we talk about the Middle East, we always refer to the Arab people of Palestinian. We always talk about their right and how they're oppressed nation, which I agree, they are oppressed nation whose country has been divided. But why we always ignore the 45 million population of the Kurdish nation? Their language has been banned. They're not supposed to be called themselves as Kurds. In Turkey, for example, they're known as Mountain Turk. In Arab world, they're known as Arab with a twisted language. Why we never consider the Kurdish nation?
Okay, thanks. That's an interesting question I would like to put to Dr. Nakhle.
That's a very good point, actually. And if I happen to support a statehood for the Palestinians, of course you have to support a statehood for the Kurds. And so there's no disagreement with the questioner that there are millions of Kurds who live in this vast region encompassing Turkey, Iran, Syria, Iraq. And of course, they are entitled, if they so desire in the long run, to their own independent political existence.
Do you think there'll ever be that debate, Dr. Nakhle?
I think that will be up to the Kurds, and it seems the Kurds have rarely agreed among themselves to form such a state.
Neil, a quick thought with literally 20 seconds to go. Do you see, I mean, you're optimistic when you look at the way relations are developing between the West and the Arab world?
I think there's vast room for improvement, and I think both sides want to try it. And I think that also there's curiosity on both sides among the populations, and that's where I kind of put my optimism. I think if the U.S. helps civil society develop in the Arab world, that would be a big help. And I don't think Arab populations in general are hostile to Americans as people.
Well, Neil McFarquhar and Dr. Mil Nakhle, thank you very much, both of you, for joining us, and good luck with the books.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. Remember, if you have any comments or questions for the show, send them to riz@aljazeera.net. I'll be away next week, but my friend and colleague Anand Naidu is going to be sitting in for me. Please join him for those shows then. But from me and the team, we'll see you next time.